Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's time for another anime first impression video. Welcome once again. This is going to be on the Do-Over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor. It is one that is airing on Crunchyroll. Time of recording, there is 2 episodes out. It is only subtitled for now. But I can see this one being dubbed. I don't know if it will, but I can see it. It is a interesting series to say the least. I there's been kind of like do over, I reincarnated or got relived or whatever multiple times. This is just a one time restart, I guess. But there's other series where they've done it like 5 or 6 times, or this is the 7th time reviving, and this is how it went, and so on and so forth. So it is not a new trope, but it is fairly new to the sense of there's not a lot out there yet. So, but there will be for sure. Before anything, guys, if you haven't done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Give some love by commenting, liking, and sharing. If you haven't done so by now, make sure you check out my other first impression videos, because this is one of the last ones that I'm doing. After this one, there's only maybe 1 or 2 more, if that. So go check them out. I do appreciate all the love and support. I wanted to show you guys one thing that I received yesterday from one of my students. So that is amazing. They know I love One Piece, so they drew me Luffy from One Piece. But anyways, small things like that make my day. I was very happy to see that in my desk yesterday. So okay, let's talk about this series, the Do-Over Damsel. So story starts with her first life, and she's already an adult. She is a fiance to a guy who has a sister trope. He's obsessed with his sister, and essentially he is appointing her death. Like he's gonna execute her because she's not complying to how he wants her to comply. Right? I guess that's the best way to put it. And she is doesn't want to die, so she's trying to escape. She's realizing that it's all been like this whole arranged marriage has all been for the benefit of him and not her, and he was just finding a reason to get rid of her so that he can stay with his sister, which again, super weird, but it is what it is. She eventually like fights off, like you can tell she's a fighter. She fights off some knights and some leaders, and she throws herself from a tower. I'm not sure if she's like trying to commit suicide or she's trying to escape the walls, but she throws herself. And someone throws her a spear. She doesn't know who, but that spear seems to have magic to it. And she's never experienced too much of this before, but it ends up impaling her and she dies. When she wakes up, she is again herself, but a lot younger. Yes. So, she ends up basically, she ends up basically waking up as herself as a kid right before she becomes engaged to this guy, and she goes with the mindset of she's not gonna do it, right? Now her parents make it seem like it's not arranged. They let her know like, oh, we hope that the prince chooses you, but towards the end of the episode we find out that the parents were in it. They were arranging her marriage for sure. So it's not like they didn't know what was going on. And it throws her on a loop. The whole scene where he's proposing happens, and she runs away. She doesn't want to be proposed to, and he's like very insistent, but he's like very rough about it. Like you can tell that he's just doing it to do it. And this whole fairy tale story that she thought it was now is clear to her that it's forceful, that he's doing it because they're forcing him to do it, and I guess he's gonna find a way otherwise. So she decides to find the first guy. She doesn't look at him, but she grabs a guy and says, "No, I'm gonna marry this guy," and ends up being a prince from a different area who, in her past life, um, destroyed and killed a bunch of people for her from her kingdom. And we get a little of like flashbacks that connect with one another throughout the episode. But essentially, he was upset about something that they had done to him. Um, we don't really know what it was, but something was done to him that he lost control and basically went to kill off these people. And whenever she was giving herself as a sacrifice for her people, he decided that it he was bored and it was not going to be worth enough, so he left with his army, right? So that's like all she knows of him is that happened. So I'm going to assume that something bad happened to him because his character he's a very sweet guy. He ends up taking her under her wing, and like he's able to use magic, and he's the Dragon Emperor. She later finds out when she tells him that it's a lie, like she doesn't want to marry him. He then kind of shows his true colors. Like he's a lot nicer than he actually even shown, even though he was already nice, but he's a lot nicer. And then the dragon shows himself up, making fun of him, and he just ends up being like a super sweet guy. So she kind of weighs her options in her head, like I can stay with him or I can go with dude that's gonna kill me in a few years. And she eventually says, you know what? Yes, I was lying, but please take me as your bride. And she kind of begs for him to be to take her in again, and that's how the episode ends. In a nutshell, that's the whole episode. I did cut some things out here and there, but you have to watch it yourself. It is a good series. I think it is intense in the ways of just kind of like, I guess, how royalty really is or was here in the in this real world, right? A lot of people would take wives for political reasons, and then they would get rid of them because of disease, but not really disease, or maybe it was, but they were poison or whatever, like a year or two, because either they were bored of them or they didn't really want to be with them, but it was a political move, and it would help the countries if they tie their knot, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think it has parallels to this world when it comes to that. A little weird that the guy is very obsessed with her, um, her being a child, because you can clearly see her. She is a child, and he is very obsessed with her. And she even herself kind of like shows like it's weird, even though she's obviously an adult in a kid's body, but still weird. So anyways, go check it out. There's 2 episodes in Crunchyroll. Give some love by commenting, liking, and sharing. Make sure you let me know what was your favorite one this season. I did skip some, so I'm gonna try my best to do a few more first impressions, but can't promise you a lot more. So watch the ones I have already, and hopefully maybe 2 or 3 more will come out after this one. Thank you, and guys, like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.